Welcome back to the studio, everybody. Very glad we didn't scare any of you away. Before we head into our final round, let's take one final look at our scoreboard. We've got Sheldon right here holding on with 2 points. We've got Travis and Waldo, or Commander and Waldo, each with 3 points, guys, but anything can happen. This is rapid fire, just so you guys know how it works. A reminder, points are now doubled. I'll ask a question, you guys jump in at any point. All good?
Okay.
All right. After sleeping in late to a training camp practice, Houston Texans quarterback Ryan Mallett missed the plane to Miami before the Dolphins game, apparently because he was stuck in traffic. So, what is the worst possible way you could lose a job, especially in sports? Doesn't get much worse than that. Cut yesterday.
Okay, I'll take this one. As a Mets fan, we had a relief pitcher named Henry Mejia earlier this year. Missed the first half of the year because of recreational or performance-enhancing drugs.
Okay.
Comes back, plays about a week of baseball, gets suspended again for performance-enhancing drugs, and I think at that point, you know, at least Ryan Mallett, you know, everybody's skip their alarm every now and then,
Yeah.
but when it comes to doing something twice that you know is against law and you're going to get caught, it doesn't get worse. than that,
Drugs
in
are
my opinion.
definitely not a good thing, so everybody watch out for the baked goods in their trick-or-treat this weekend.
Okay, so I think the worst way that I've heard is there was a fighter that was on a main card, and he was cutting weight 2 days before the fight, and he slipped on a sauna, like the water, and broke his arm. So after 3 months of training, he couldn't fight. He lost his paycheck.
Wait, so he was in a sauna? So
Yeah, he was like in a sauna, like cutting weight, yeah,
Okay.
and like I guess the floor was slippery, and he walked out and slipped and broke his arm.
Excellent.
So
Excellent.
I feel like any player celebration that gets hurt is kind of ultimately goes to get cut. You think of Gus Frerotte there with the Redskins slamming his head into a wall there, hurting his neck, and obviously eventually being cut. Kicker Grammatica for the Cardinals started celebrating and tears his ACL there, and he's done. So I think those have to be the worst ways. So
I'm with you. I think Sheldon gets the 2 points here. You saw several Notre Dame players earlier this season. Kendrys Morales a few years ago, so Matt's getting the 2 points to take a lead, guys. 1 point game. Blowing off your heads with fireworks? No JPP. That might have gotten the job there, too.
He's coming back, though.
Guys,
shooting yourself in the leg.
Shooting yourself in the leg, bad too, drugs, everything. Tonight's Game 2 of the World Series, guys, features a pitching matchup of two right-handed power arms and Johnny Cueto for the Royals, Jacob deGrom for the Mets. Those pitchers also have perhaps the best hair in all of baseball. Besides deGrom and Johnny Cueto, the question is, who has the best flow in all of sports?
Troy Polamalu.
Okay.
Tom Brady.
Oh, Tom Brady?
He's got it. He's got it.
It was good for a while, but he kind of cuts it short.
Yeah.
He kind of cuts it off for me.
Old Tom Brady.
Old Tom Brady?
Old
Okay,
Tom
we got
Brady.
one for Troy Polamalu.
I have to go with Troy Polamalu also. I mean, it's iconic. I mean, you don't see Steelers games, I mean, obviously since he retired, but you never saw a Steelers game and didn't notice that Bush just jumping over the line of scrimmage.
No Clay Matthews?
He's not quite there yet.
That hair's
Not
thinning.
there
That's
yet.
I got a projection of some male pattern baldness coming his way a little bit.
That's why he has to have it growing out now.
Yeah.
All right, I'm scrapping that 1 point. So we're making the next point. We're at 3. Whoever gets the last one wins the whole thing, guys. Halloween is this Saturday night, so before the NBA tip-off for the 2015 season, several teams chose to celebrate. Take a look at these pictures of Dirk Nowitzki and then Russell Westbrook's in their costumes. These are obviously great. As Dirk with the Addams family, just absolutely rocking the costume. These are obviously great, but what is the best possible Halloween costume you can think of? Or you can tell us your best childhood costume. We need vivid descriptions here, by the way.
Okay. When I was in, I believe it was 5th grade, I was Napoleon Dynamite. And I went to school with tater tots in my pocket. I had
awesome.
the full thing. I had Vote for Pedro. We couldn't find a shirt anywhere, so we made it ourselves, like ironed on, had the wig, had a perfect outfit for it.
Awesome. The tater tots
The
really
absolutely.
tip it
And
off.
the funny thing is all we had was frozen tater tots. So I just threw them in my pocket anyway, and they melted all day. It was not good. But.
Okay, one for Napoleon Dynamite.
Matt, I couldn't tell you what the best Halloween costume is. I can only tell you what, in my opinion, would be the most fun, and that is one year for Halloween, I dressed up as Pac-Man, and my best friend dresses up as the ghosts, and we just booked it down the streets, just bugging everybody, playing the Waka Waka Waka, and it was the best Halloween night of my life.
That's pretty awesome. We got two really good ones. What do you have, Sheldon?
So,
I mean, this is pretty close.
So
This is good.
leading up to Halloween around 3rd grade, our teacher let us start dressing up early in the week, and being the nerdy guy I am as Sheldon, I decided to dress up as Captain Kirk. I had pulled out the entire, came up with
you're killing me.
jetpacks.
You're killing
I had it all, and it was pretty great.
You're killing me. I love Napoleon Dynamite. I love Captain Kirk. But Pac-Man did it for me. It did it for me. So Eric's taking home the win. His first time as Waldo. I love it. I think it's really original. Do we have time for FaceTime? 30 seconds FaceTime?
Do we have time for third? No, we don't.
No, we do not. So congratulations, Waldo. You're our Champion of Week show. Week 8 in 2015. That'll do it, guys. Our special Halloween edition. Don't forget to check us out on social media at College Xfire. And make sure to watch every Wednesday night at 9 live here on TSTV for the best Longhorn sports news. Tune into College Press Box Mondays at 9:30. They're also on the Twitter at College Press Box. All of our shows are on the YouTube as well. Waldo is your champion. Eric Goodman coming back next week. A big thanks to our other panelists. The Commander. We got Sheldon Cooper as well. Even bigger applause is due to everyone in Masters Control Studio, and a special thanks to each and every one of you for spending your Wednesday night with us. Until next week, I'm Tony Romo. I'll be back in a few weeks. Have a happy Halloween. Welcome back to your home of sports debate on the 40 acres. It's College Crossfire. Let's glance at the scoreboard before we zoom into round 2. Led by our astronaut there in the middle, Travis Reif. We've got Sheldon with 2 points. We've got Travis with 1, but don't worry, the spaceship's headed up, or the shuttle. And Waldo down there with 2 as well. So we have 2, 1, 2 guys. Headed into round 2. The World Series is finally here. The New York Mets and the Kansas City Royals are the 2 teams left to fight it out, see who will be the world champion. Last night in a 14-inning affair that started Tuesday and ended Wednesday morning saw the Royals win in the bottom of the 14th after an Alex Gordon bomb tied it in the 9th. Guys, I need one bold prediction for this series from you guys and how it plays out into who wins. By the way, Royals have come back to take the lead over the Mets 4-1 right now in the middle innings. And Sheldon, we'll start with you.
Right now, for overall prediction for the series, I believe Royals win it in 7. The Mets, if they lose this game, go down 2-0, they're going to go to New York, and they're going to feel the pressure, and they're going to start getting gear. I feel like for the Royals' success, it all starts with pitching, and it all starts with Johnny Cato, who they obviously went out and signed. They needed a big-time pitcher come in. You know, he's a great regular season pitcher. Struggled here, obviously, in the playoffs, but if he can get his ERA down, he's over 7 right now. If he can get it below 3, you know, keep the Royals close within games and allow them their offense to get cranked up, he could possibly be a difference maker. And possibly, if he really starts lining up, maybe a Madison Bumgarner. Who knows?
Who knows? So, what's your bold prediction on out of there?
My bold prediction for him, for Johnny Cato, he's going to be the MVP of this.
MVP of the World Series? Okay, he was on the mound tonight. He's given up 1 run so far. Commander, what's your bold prediction and how does it play into the series?
My bold prediction is Daniel Murphy will not hit a home run the whole series. Okay, and I believe that the Royals will take it in 5 games. I think they're gonna close it out pretty fast. I think they're on the way. I think the Mets closers aren't going to do it for them. I think the Royals will just be able to control offensively. So.
I like that pick a lot. Daniel Murphy, a career high, 14 home runs in the regular season, 6 games in a row, really kind of out of nowhere. So I like that, and certainly the Royals on their way to up 2-0 after just a terrible, terrible loss last night. Waldo, what do you have? I know you're a native Mets guy.
Yeah, so I got to answer about 20% with my mind and 80% with my heart here. My bold prediction is that the Mets, regardless of, it looks like they're not going to be able to hold on because they haven't been the best coming back in games when they don't have the lead. So I say they go to New York, win all 3 games at home, take it to a Game 7, and that Game 7 goes into extras, and from there, who knows?
Okay, all right, so the bold prediction is it goes into extras.
Yeah, and that the Mets win all 3. Mets hold down Citi
Mets hold
Field.
down, okay. All right, excellent. I think Commander's getting the point here. Daniel Murphy, so hot, so many storylines coming into this, but I think it's a pretty realistic chance of happening. Hasn't had one so far, guys, as football continues. Game 2 of the Fall Classic tonight, and the rinks are busy. But as of last night, the 4 big sports are officially back in action with the NBA tipping off. Its season began with the Warriors-Pelicans and then the Bulls-Cavaliers. Many more games, 28 out of 30 teams in action tonight. So, guys, I need your top 3 NBA teams, and give me one more that might surprise some people headed into the 2015-2016 season. Travis?
Okay, I gotta go OKC, Spurs, and Warriors.
Wow.
No Eastern
Wow.
Conference teams.
No Eastern Conference.
no.
So
I
you think
the three
OKC
best
jumps
teams-
right back up there?
I think they will. I think Kevin Durant will just come back and be the player he really is, the MVP he is. And the surprising pick is I think is the Bucks. I think they can. I think they could be a three. I think they could be a 3 seed in the Eastern Conference.
Really? The
Yeah.
3 seed?
I think with Greg Monroe coming, I think with Jabari coming back, I think with Michael Carter Williams, they're a young team. But I think in the as weak as I think the Eastern Conference is going to be, I think they could manage a 3 seed.
All right, you're bringing out the boo birds. Make sure you don't hit them with the shuttle on your way up to space there. Waldo, what do you think?
So I am right there with Travis, and obviously way against the crew. I do think the top 3 are going to be all Western Conference teams: the Thunder, the Spurs, and the Warriors. I think the Warriors might have trouble getting off the ground, and I think the Thunder are going to come steamrolling in. And then the Spurs are just going to be their consistent selves, especially bringing in LaMarcus Aldridge. And you've got Tim Duncan, the biggest bargain in the NBA right now, on a $5 million salary. I think as far as the East goes, Cleveland will be there in the finals, in the Eastern Conference Finals. And I think Miami's a team that, if you look at Luol Deng, Dwayne Wade, their veterans can get them into the Eastern Conference Finals this year.
All right, we need some cheers out of this crowd. We got too many boo birds.
They're
There we go.
alienating
There we go. It's Halloween. It's a
They're
holiday.
alienating us.
It's a holiday, everybody. Sheldon, we need some cheers for Sheldon. Give your top
Wrong kind
pick.
of boo
I'm
for the
probably going to
season.
upset I'm still here, so
Okay.
forgive me, Reese.
buckle up.
So I still got Warriors, Spurs, and I'm going to go ahead and go with an Eastern team that's not getting a lot of praise right now, and that's the Atlanta Hawks.
Oh.
They're not. Coach Budenholzer, having been with the Spurs, he knows how to get it done. They had success last year. Can they rebound from it? So I'm sticking with them. Hey, they made the Eastern Conference, Josh. Mavs knocked out first round. I'm sorry.
They're looking
And
for
so surprise. You know, 5 championships. That's all I can say. 5 championships. And then for surprise team, I gotta go Bucks. And I gotta go Heat. Bucks right now. If Jabari can stay healthy, Jason Kidd's got a great lineup there. Heat are surprising because if Wade can stay healthy, you got Goran Dragic, Chris Bosh, and you have Winslow there. Excuse me. This guy, good group for Pat Riley. They could go real deep.
You're arguing with my cameraman there, Sheldon. I can't give you the points. So Travis gets it for the Bucks. I think they're definitely an upset pick in the making, guys. So Travis taking the lead, guys. We lost another great to retirement this week as soccer player Abby Wambach decided to hang up the cleats after 14 years with the U.S. women's national soccer team. She retires with 184 international goals, the most in the world, male or female. But guys, the question is, where does Wambach rank among the best female athletes ever? You've got several choices here, but I'm curious where you guys think Abby ranks among the best female athletes ever. Waldo, we'll go with you.
Well, I think when you talk about the best female athletes of all time, Serena Williams is number 1 by far. I don't think anybody in their respective sports has dominated the way she has. As far as the next 2, I think they both come from the world of U.S. soccer. Wambach and Mia Hamm have had very similar careers. They both won World Cups. Mia Hamm won 2, Wambach won 1. But I'm going to say Mia Hamm is still the more transcendent women's soccer player because of what she did in the early 2000s, setting the table for girls like Wambach to come in and really take the stage on the U.S. national team and dominate the World Cups coming forward.
Okay, so you've got Serena, then Mia Hamm, then Abby Wambach.
That's right.
Okay, that's top 3. Sheldon, we'll go to you.
I definitely have Abby Wambach top 10. Probably have her right now, probably 5 or 6.
Wow.
Right now, we look at the women that have come along before her. I have to put Mia Hamm ahead of her just because she did it before Abby Wambach, and she's the one that got this all started. Serena Williams is definitely up there. Stephanie Graf, tennis player, last one to do a Grand Slam. Great athlete for Germany. Could have been a track star as well. And so you have a lot of tennis stars there with Chris Everett, and so I think that's where you got to go with a lot of those top players first before you get into Abby Wambach.
Sure, certainly compelling case. Tennis maybe individualized a bit more than soccer as well.
Right.
Commander, what do you have?
I'd say top 10, but I wouldn't
Okay.
say top 5. I think there's a lot of
Wow.
female athletes. I just wouldn't. I would say Serena, of course, Serena, and then you got. I'd even say Rousey is higher than her. That's what in my opinion.
I'm 100% with you. I think
Yeah.
Ronda Rousey's in the top 3, maybe?
Absolutely. What she's done is ridiculous. It's unheard of. She's dominant, and she's become the biggest star in the sport in a men's sport. And that's something that in the female category is it's a very important thing. So.
It just feels like she's not done yet, though. I'm excited to see where she goes from here.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's already, without a doubt, the best in that sport, and she's only going to continue getting better. So, guys, Commander's getting the point here just because I think Ronda Rousey, he brought the right hook there, and that's how we're going to go to break, guys. 2 rounds down, meaning we knock on the door of rapid fire and trick or treat next. Tricks, treats, Texas football, and even a little Tony Romo coming up on College Crossfire.
Where the hell's the rest of it?
Taylor's not even here to defend himself.
I'm so excited. Good evening, everybody, and a very happy Halloween to you. This is College Crossfire, the exclusive live sports debate show from the 40 Acres. I'm your host, Reese Miller, or Tony Romo. Tonight, a little injured, but that's all right. I'll be back in a couple weeks. Glad to be with you tonight, and incredibly excited to have you with us on a Halloween special. Before we dive into debate, let's go ahead and meet our characters for tonight. Off to my right here, we've got Matthew Adams. I'll tell you, I don't know who wins the costume show, but Matt certainly give it a run as Sheldon Cooper. Matt, how you doing?
Doing pretty good tonight.
Okay, got any?
I hope I feel as smart as Sheldon.
Okay, all right, well, I'm sure you will. Travis Reif, a first-timer, but tonight he's the commander of the NASA 4000, so I'm sure he'll be just fine.
That's right. I'm ready to take off with the win.
Nice. Maybe a little bit more than wind, see if he can fly into space tonight. Where's Waldo? We found him, and it is in the form of Eric Goodman.
Yeah, Reese, sorry I was late. I got lost getting in here, but thankfully somebody found me, so
that's okay.
We're good to go.
We found you, and we are good to go indeed, guys. It should be a good one. Thanks for being on. Let's get into it. The Texas football team did something for the first time all season on Saturday in a torrential downpour at DKR. They won back-to-back games. With a 23-9 victory over the Kansas State Wildcats, Texas improves to 3-4 on the season and has what would seem to be the easiest part of the schedule upcoming. Iowa State, Kansas, West Virginia, Texas Tech, and the number 2 Baylor Bears remain for Texas in the 2015 quest for a bowl game, with Baylor quarterback Seth Russell now out for the season due to a neck surgery. Guys, is it possible Texas could win out the rest of the season? I know it's optimistic, but it seems like it's becoming more and more likely as we go here. Sheldon, we'll start with you.
As much as I like to think Texas is winning out, I just don't think it's possible for them. They do have a great stretch against Iowa State, Kansas, West Virginia, Texas Tech. They're going to get some tough matches there towards the end, but I think Baylor having to go to Waco, maybe if Baylor has one loss already, obviously they may be out of the playoff picture, but they're still going to feel the pressure, and they're going to want to beat Texas as usual. Art Briles has had a lot of success recently against this Texas team. So, and the fact that it is in Waco, granted, the young guys are starting to step up, but it's going to be a whole new territory. I just don't think, even with Jarrett Stidham there, he's probably going to be able to make some plays happen and probably still put up a lot of points there, having Coleman on the outside to hit. So
that's one thing. Lots of talent around him and a very talented quarterback in himself. 5-star, almost went to Tech from Stephenville. So certainly a challenge. Travis, or Commander, whatever you want me to call you tonight. Captain,
Commander.
It's all you.
Okay, so I believe that Texas can win out except for Baylor. There's no way, I don't think that they're ready for a team as good as Baylor. Even with the quarterback out, their new quarterback, Jarrett Stidham, he's got the credentials so far to be better than Seth Russell. He was a great high school quarterback. He was the 36th recruit in the nation. Why he went to Baylor, I don't know. But the athleticism at Baylor is just too much for Texas to handle. In the future, it'll be a different story, but this year, no.
Yeah, well, Corey Coleman, Jay Lee, Shock Linwood may be a decent enough race. And also our Briles-Stephenville connections as well, but certainly Jarrett Stidham doesn't look like it's too far of a step down. Waldo, do tell us, what do you think?
Well, these guys are both right. When it comes down to whether or not Texas can run the table, it comes down to that Baylor game. And as far as the quarterback situation, I think by then, even by the TCU game, which is Baylor's second to last game of the year, I think Stidham will haven't had enough reps to get comfortable in that offense. I think there's a chance that if Baylor prepares for TCU and takes care of that game, they could run into Texas and Waco as a trap game, and maybe that could be the shocker that keeps them out of the playoffs. But honestly, I don't see that likely. I do think Texas has a good chance to make it 4 wins to get to Waco, though.
Texas has just been a little bit too inconsistent, I think, even with 2 wins in a row, to predict that they'll upset Baylor. And if there's any coach that can plug in a quarterback into a system, it's probably Art Briles, guys. So everybody's getting a point. I'm going to start you guys off with some treats, no tricks. We'll save those for later. This Saturday on Halloween night, the Longhorns enter perhaps the scariest haunted house of all, Jack Trice Stadium in Ames, Iowa, to take on the Cyclones. Texas is 11-1 all-time against ISU, but in the last 2 years, they have 2 victories by a combined 4 points. The Cyclones have canned Mark Mangino as their offensive coordinator and will start a new quarterback, Joel Lanning, over veteran senior Sam Richardson against Texas this Saturday. Until December, when Texas takes on Baylor, as we talked about, is this really the toughest weekend, or this weekend coming up, matchup-wise for Texas? You've still got on the road against West Virginia. You've got Texas Tech and, of course, Kansas. But is this really the toughest one until that Baylor game, Travis?
I don't believe so. I believe Texas Tech is going to be the toughest game for us, and mainly that's because I think I went to Lubbock for the game last year, and Tech fans think of this as Tech as a team think of this as their biggest rivalry almost. It's a huge deal. It's like the OU Texas, and we saw that when it's a rivalry, you can throw all the records aside with the game this year. So I think Patrick Mahomes is going to come in, and that whole offense is going to give the defense a run for the money for sure. But I think it's going to be a close game for us, and it's going to be definitely a hard-fought win.
Tech right now, 5th-ranked efficiency offense so far in the NCAA. Certainly will be a challenge for Texas against some teams that they've faced lately. Waldo, what do you think?
When we talk about Iowa State and Texas, it's really a tale of 2 opposite quarterback situations. Iowa State obviously is just moving to a quarterback who's going to make his first start, whereas Texas has found the sweet spot where they have Jared Hurd running the offense up until the red zone, and then when they get to that point, Tyrone Swoops comes in, and he's been really effective at punching it in and getting converting on touchdowns in the red zone. So I think they'll have a good matchup in Ames against Iowa State. I agree with Travis. Texas Tech will be the toughest matchup, but I do like Texas's chances considering Texas is so run heavy since Jay Norvell took over, and Texas Tech is ranked 125th, I believe, this year in run defense. So I see Texas having a good chance to get to Baylor 4-0.
Wow, certainly would be a heck of a turnaround from a 1-4 start. Sheldon, do enlighten us. You're without a question the smartest guy in the room, so enlighten us here.
So I definitely don't think Iowa State is the toughest for Texas coming up here. Great. I know Ames is tough. We've seen OSU go up there when Brandon Ween was there, get upset. But this is an Iowa State team losing Mark Mangino. There's a lot of turmoil in that locker room right now between coaches, between players. So I think for Texas, they can go in there and get the win. Tech's an interesting one, but I still say that's less of a tougher test because it is in Austin. It's on senior night. There's going to be guys like Jonathan Gray, Duke Thomas. They're going to be fired up. They're going to be ready to light it up. West Virginia is the interesting one because having it go to Morgantown, this will only be, I believe, the 2nd or 3rd time for this Texas team to have gone up there. The last time they went up there, it was the scare in overtime. They pulled out a win, but West Virginia is always a tough place. It'll be cold. Those fans will be fired up. So it's definitely a time. And, of course, Dana Holgorsen, even as much as they struggle, he's fired up having been at Oklahoma State, having been at Tech. He understands what it is to beat Texas. And so he's going to have his guys as ready as possible.
Sheldon, I think I'm with you here, mainly because look how Texas has played at home. Their only losses gave them up late to Cal on an extra point, and Oklahoma State on the road been blown out by Notre Dame and TCU in their true road games. So I certainly think West Virginia. I personally think Ames is going to be tough. I think Iowa State and Paul Rhodes need that, but Sheldon's getting the point here before we go to the next one, guys. After the Miami Hurricanes' worst home loss in history, you have fired head coach Al Golden. It is still October. And now 8 head coaching jobs are already up for grabs. Miami, South Carolina, North Texas, USC, Illinois, Maryland, Minnesota, and UCF have vacancies, while many speculate Kansas State, possibly West Virginia, and other jobs may become open by the end of the 2015 season. So, guys, what is the best head coaching job out there, and what will it be by the end of the season? Waldo, we'll start with you.
So I would point first to the 2 USCs, Southern California and South Carolina. But I'm going to say resoundingly Southern California is the better job, just because when you look at the shoes that the coaches would have to fill going into these new jobs, Steve Spurrier is one of the greatest legends coaches in college football. Somebody's going to have to go in there, follow what he's done rebuilding that Carolina program, and is probably not going to have a success based on the strength of the SEC East is rising with Florida and Georgia coming back, and the SEC West in general. When you look at USC, they have the talent. Sarkisian got them the third best recruiting class last year, so they've got the talent. They've obviously got the resume and the profile to recruit players that want to go and win in Los Angeles. And then finally, they've got the brand to make it happen.
Sure. Hey, is there a bit of concern that they've had, I believe, 6 head coaches or interim head coaches included in the last 3 or 4 years, that might be a volatile job?
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, they've had a couple of bad hires, pointing back to Lane Kiffin and then Steve Sarkisian. But that could work in the benefit of the next coach that comes in, who won't have the pressure to win now, because I think that SC fans realize that they need to give a good coach time to build up the program and then build it from there.
Certainly, Pat Hayden coming into question now. So we got one for USC. Sheldon, what do you have?
I definitely like the USC Trojans for this one, because when you look at USC, the problem that they've had with their coaches, Lane Kiffin, Steve Sarkisian, they're still struggling under the kind of Pete Carroll reign and kind of that cloud, that cape that's over USC. Pat Hayden has struggled as AD. You saw former Heisman winner there with Garrett struggle. So USC is in that position where it's Los Angeles. They can still overtake UCLA. Possibly, if they get things really rolling, cranked up with recruiting, and these young guys, freshmen, sophomores that are in there, they could possibly overtake Stanford at some point and become king of California at some point. I do like South Carolina, but my only concern with them is, yes, Steve Spurrier had a lot of success, but 10 wins and not even being able to win the SEC, that's not cutting it. South Carolina has a lot. They don't really recruit well because they're in the SEC, but they also have Clemson there that's leading the way. So South Carolina is not as great a spot, Waldo. I'm sorry.
Okay, we've got 2 for USC. Commander, fly us out of here.
Okay, real quick. Is the question for just the vacancies or for overall?
Sure, yeah, just the vacancies that could be
The
open.
vacancy? Okay, you have to go with USC here, and that's based upon the fan base and the popularity. They're constantly in the news. Like, even when they've been bad, they're constantly in the news for good or bad things. And so if you're appealing to the greatest coaching spot, you're looking for the one that'll get you the most popularity or that'll get you the biggest name. And if a coach can come in and win at USC, it would be huge. It would be just back like in the national championship years when they were golden.
USC has certainly the names. I'm going to give the point to Waldo here, though. For the other USC in a weak SEC East, still in the SEC recruiting ground, so Waldo's getting the point headed to break, guys. That's the end of round 1. We'll be back with more spooks and scares on Halloween College Crossfire.